Rolling on the River. Red Barn's 1975 move sparked Museum of Flight. To soar, sometimes you've first got to float. The 22.5-acre Museum of Flight near Boeing Field, south of Seattle, is no secret. The world's largest independent nonprofit aerospace museum, home to 175 aircraft and spacecraft, thousands of artifacts, millions of photos, and dozens of exhibits, is bedrock here. But few know of the spectacle that set its course. 50 years ago, on a foggy Tuesday, December 16, 1975, a battered two-story 1909 building eased off Port of Seattle property along the Duwamish River in West Seattle. Once a boat shop and Boeing's original airplane factory, the edifice had long been abandoned. That day, its 150 by 65-foot frame, weighing 325 tons, began a 2-mile barge journey upriver, arriving at the Duwamish's east bank. The next day, it rolled across East Marginal Way to its eventual home base. Bright red with distinctive white lettering, the building was Seattle's beloved Red Barn. On the eve of the nation's bicentennial, the move became what the first executive director, Howard Lovering, calls the museum's fulcrum, the pivotal moment turning civic nostalgia into collective action. The move, following the shortest route from points A to B, was a nail-biter. The Industrial Canal was a wonderful way to do it, says Lovering, 88, but it wasn't easy. The structure was in such bad shape that it was going to fall apart if you tried to move it. It had to be secured. The bigger challenge was an electrician's strike, he says. We had to cross East Marginal Way, and the high-tension wires there carried an awful lot of power. Facilities people said we needed a 3 to 4 foot rise, and there was no crew to do it. They said if you cross the street, this wood structure with its wrought iron fire exits, you'd have the world's largest toaster. It scared the heck out of all of us. I ended up in the Union Hall saying, is there some way we can get these raised? They cared enough about this building to say, no, we can't do that, but we know a non-union firm that might. And those wires were raised just adequately for us to pass under. When we got across, everybody breathed a sigh of relief, and we headed for the taverns. And the museum's new home began to soar. A 1976 open house drew 20,000. The restored Red Barn opened in 1983. Then Vice President George H.W. Bush headlined the 1987 opening of the next-door Great Gallery. And today, the much-expanded museum lures 500,000 visitors and serves 140,000 students each year. Lovering still marvels. I'm not sure all of that would have happened without the move. In our first then photo, tugboats nudge a Foss barge carrying the Red Barn up the Duwamish River through the opened First Avenue South Bridge on December 16, 1975. Receiving wide coverage, the move was even showcased in National Geographic magazine as a bicentennial event. In our second then photo, officials eyed the elevated Red Barn along the east bank of the Duwamish River after the building was floated upriver on December 16, 1975. In our third then photo, this map shows the path of the Red Barn's move and is from Howard Lovering's 392-page, 6-pound coffee table history of the Museum of Flight for future generations, published in 2016. One proposed museum name was Red Barn Air Park. In our fourth then photo, in the Red Barn's original location along the Duwamish River at the southern end of West Seattle, soldiers patrol on June 8, 1917, 2 months after the United States entered World War I. In our fifth then photo, the West Seattle-based Boeing Plant 1 is shown on February 15, 1919, the backside of its Red Barn visible at center, behind the building labeled Boeing Airplane Company. And in our sixth then photo, this 1962 drawing by Harl Bracken is likely the first vision for incorporating the Red Barn, at left, in what would become the Museum of Flight. Today, Howard Lovering, who served for 15 years as the Museum of Flight's first executive director, stands before the Red Barn. He credits the advocacy of then King County Executive John Spellman, among many others, for making possible the Red Barn's siting and later museum development. Also today, inside the Red Barn, Museum of Flight exhibit staff Cody Otout, left, and Peter Nelson kneel beside a scale model of the Red Barn and other buildings at their original site along the Duwamish River in West Seattle. In the display, they incorporated stop-motion animation, film of the Red Barn's move, and other interpretation. For more information, visit museumofflight.org.